In her textbook, Communication in Our Lives, Julia Wood describes 5 different responses to diversity. In this video, we will discuss the do's and don'ts of approaching cultural differences, starting with the most negative response, resistance, and moving towards the most positive response, participation. While learning about these different responses, it is important to remember that interacting with diversity is a gradual process. This process takes time, experience, and commitment. Over time, because we are introduced to new people and new experiences, our responses will change.
Of the 5 responses to cultural diversity, resistance is by far the most negative one. A response to cultural diversity in which the cultural practices of others are attacked or subordinated is the definition of resistance according to Wood. Diversity is a gradual process that takes time and experience with a variety of people. So resistance not only slows this time, but also lessens the amount of people that are met and interacted with. Some extreme examples of resistance include anti-Semitism and white supremacy. These are examples of resistance because they both undermine and prioritize their views over other targeted cultures' views. Part of accepting diversity includes avoiding resistance. This allows for the U.S. to be more of a quilt, as Reverend Jackson puts it, instead of a melting pot.
According to Julia Wood, tolerance is the acceptance of differences within other cultures, even though we may not approve or understand them. While it is not the most positive way to approach cultural diversity, it is one step closer to achieving this diversity rather than resistance. To tolerate someone's culture is to maybe respect their rights, even though you may feel as though your own rights and beliefs are superior to theirs. Furthermore, while it is present, judgment is not strictly imposed on another group. The Ottoman Empire is one example of historical tolerance. For those who were not Muslim, were held to limited amounts of power, but they were not directly suppressed.
One of the better ways to approach cultural diversity within your community, but not quite the best way, is understanding their culture. This is like tolerance in the sense that they're there, you don't partake, but it's different in that you can see the positives about their individual cultures and traditions. And rather than meeting them, seeing that they're different and assuming that they're wrong or bad or evil, whatever term you use to define it, give them a chance, or not even that, just find the good in what they do and accept them for that.
Alright, so another really important factor in dealing with diversity and accepting it well is respect. We all know what respect means, but in terms of cultural communication, respect means moving beyond judgment and beginning to understand cultural basis for practicing things that diverge from our own practices. That's according to Julia Wood. An example that she uses is the value of placing family above self. Some cultures practice that and believe that family is more important, but in other cultures, like the U.S., we value individualism and doing what's best for yourself. Now, between those two, there doesn't need to be any judgment, but respect instead, even beyond tolerance, like we talked about before. Respect allows us to acknowledge differences and accept them and have an appreciation for them, but still remaining personally anchored in our own values. So, respect is super important.
The final response is participation. According to Wood, we incorporate some of the practices and values of other groups into our own lives. This encourages us to develop new skills and perspectives while at the same time nurturing a civil culture that can understand differences and commonalities. If we follow the last 3 steps, understanding, respecting, and participating, when it comes to other cultures, we can truly reach peaceful diversity.